Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. And as usual, I'm going to bring you another very rare and unusual, I don't know if we can call this a radionic equipment or not. There's a big confusion between radionics and frequency units, which people like to mix together, which couldn't be further from the truth in terms of using the same type of energies. It's apples and oranges. Frequencies are based in frequencies. They're generally measurable with machines, meters, while radionics is what is rarely used until recently. Scalar energies, non-electromagnetic energy forms that are very difficult to measure, except by an expert who has the sensitivity to do it. But this is the problem with the whole industry and what's going on. Of course, everybody is using instruments based on at least 100-year-old understanding, or at least 70, 80 years old. All radionic units in general are based on Ruth Drown. Ruth Drown put these units together in the 40s and 50s, maybe even earlier, and brought this technology over to Europe, who copied her stuff and kept it going when there was a lull after her persecution. But it's very different, and all the machines we're using today is a variation of Ruth Drown. These are generally 9 to 12 dial units that have nothing inside of them. They're potentiometers connected to a couple of plates, metal plates usually, and that's about it. So with wiring in between, that makes no sense because it's electrical wiring that doesn't pick up scalar energy. They're nothing more than psychic tuners, and it doesn't mean they don't work. It just means that it's very primitive technology. But you get lots of that now. The new machines come out based on genius tech from others. So let's talk about this unusual machine that we have here, which is based in harmonology, which is a term coined by these particular people, and we're going to go into that as well. Now, this machine, I believe, comes from 2002 or 1, so it's at least 20 years old, and there's nothing about it. We're going to go into the intricacies of it. It seems to be a frequency tuning machine. This in particular, the Ultra Test, you tune in frequencies and sensitivity here. So it's strictly putting out frequencies at a low level, which is particularly something that has been understood, that the less potency the actual frequency has, meaning the strength of that it's put in you, is better for you. When you put super strong electromagnetic fields into a person's body, which is often done with quasi-fake, they're basically fake Rife machines, because Rife never really used those frequencies. That's for another day, Mr. Thor. So the whole idea is that those are shown to disrupt the body because the body naturally protects itself from strong energetic fields. It doesn't take it in. It doesn't use it. It puts up a shield. So we have to understand, all these people using these frequency machines and everything else really don't seem to know what they do. If you want to get into that, try and look into Bob Beck's tech, which seems to be valid. Bob Beck machines. Of course, Bob Beck did an awful lot of research and got an awful lot of results with his technology using frequencies. And they're not expensive. It's not you don't have to buy expensive garbage machines to put out basic frequencies. And got amazing results, so he claimed. Like everything, it's shrouded in mystery because nobody does any real research. The community itself that's involved in this doesn't support a higher level institution who can collect records, correct data. They don't do it. They're in it only for the money. And Bob Beck didn't do any of that either. And the feeble organizations that have come out are just such trashy, unprofessional lowlives, like the U.S. Psychotronic Association, filled with the most lowest people on the planet, that basically were just hawking one fraudulent radionic instrument, is really horrific. And the stooges involved with that organization, oh good God, it's a comical You could put that in on Saturday Night Live, the skit of the USPA. So the whole idea, and that goes to everybody. There's nobody else out there that does anything. Certainly the most well-known, the Radionic Association, in its entire 50, 60 years history, has put together and still stays in the closet doing virtually nothing. And their machines that are built are pretty low quality. They really don't have any proper training. And if you want to learn radionics, well, go to England for 3 years by the college. That's really doesn't fit in this day and age. They should have, of course, correspondence courses and residential courses, which maybe correspondence people could filter into once they've learned it. Take some tests and do that, and maybe spend 6 months to a year at the most. Oh, what's wrong with you, Dr. Thor? You talking sense again? You're living in a nonsensical world. I guess you don't get it. Well, you are right, dumb guy. No use using logic in a world of confusion. Right, Mr. Hams? Okay. So this is interesting technology called Harmonizer. Well, this machine was built in the main organization that had this 20 years plus ago. I can't find anything on them. If anybody has any information on the Harmonolgy International, like most organizations, they don't last very long. They don't do much, and then they die out. It doesn't matter whether their technology is good or bad. There's a lot of people still going today that have really bad technology that doesn't work. But we think it works. No.
Rajimaji believes it works. We have lots of customers there.
So the whole idea is that these are all the things that go on. So the founder of this technology, and again, this is... they did have a U.S. representative, but this guy who founded, the founding director, Director of Research, Dr. Rovi Malta, who apparently is a Indian based out of England. Vice President was MC McNulty. Well, this is the American guy who represented the organization. Interesting background. But what we're really talking about here is this technology isn't all that complicated. It deals with using electromagnetic frequencies to go through the body and then make some changes. We're going to go through this thing step by step. I do have this machine, which was very expensive. And of course, this is all the things that go into it and why everybody should be liking this video. You should become a subscriber. And of course, you should be supporting us on Patreon, even if it's only $6 a month. All of this helps, and you will get updates and free stuff because you're a Patreon member. So it's a great deal, and you get to really hear the inside things. And we're shifting more and more away from all of our social media to only Patreon, to those that really want to support us. And secondly, if we don't have money to buy things, this costs $750.
Yeah, I found that on the street. It was laying in an envelope in the gutter next to a used Snickers wrapper.
This is why it costs so much money. If you want serious independent research, you have to support the people doing it. And those that don't want to, jog on, baby. The fact is that the good people who want to even pay a pittance will get all the benefits,
And you'll be left in the gutter.
So,
This is just special.
So, and you can see that, as they said, this is just a micro frequency unit, which is electric and it goes through. This is an interesting pseudo. I don't think there's any really radionic type technology here. This is some sort of tuning. It apparently has, as you can see here, these are copper coils. It doesn't seem to run on electric. I haven't gotten that far yet. These are not electrical plugs. They're just holding this kind of cheap plastic together. And so I'm not sure if that has any electrical connected to it, just for reality's sake. Now, that's neither good nor bad. Electricity can be helpful as carrier waves, as amplifiers, but electricity in itself, past a very primitive level, doesn't really achieve the higher levels of consciousness, healing, etc. It's the scalar energy that creates everything, including the electromagnetic. So if you're using the electromagnetic, at the very least, you are using the inferior productions of scalar energy. Okay, get back into the interesting stuff here. Now, as I said, the founding director was this Hans Rex. Hans Rex is the founder director. He lived as an educated and he lived with educate. He lived. It doesn't seem like whoever wrote that. He lived, was educated, and he lived and was educated and worked in West Germany as a rocket design engineer and technical author, writing overhaul and maintenance manuals in the English language for the European swing-wing fighter aircraft Tornado before emigrating to Australia in 1978. Now, 78 is an awful long time ago, so this guy, I'm sure, is dead now. I can't really find any records on it or any activity. But you got to remember that's a long time ago, so it's most likely at this particular time. Again, they're trying to say that educated people, and particularly German educated people, somehow seem to understand all this stuff because all it is electrodes. It's electric junk. You put a screwdriver in the wall and that shock is, yeah, it's good. So the whole idea is that we have to understand the fact of what's going on there. And this is a mistake that everybody makes. And I try, particularly within recent times, to not go too much into the really ignorant, boobish, ill-informed scientific theories that we have today. People like Sean Carroll, people like all the famous Goombas that were involved in physics. And basically it's theoretical physics, meaning, maybe we kind of proved it by smashing two grapes together. So we have to be very careful. Einstein and all these other people were theoretical people. Nothing of what they've ever stated has ever been proven to have much value whatsoever. And we can prove that not by some scientist. I'm Sean Carroll. I proved your theories. You have anything that works, Sean? How about curing dandruff? Boy, that's a difficult thing to do, right, Sean? How about producing some sort of free energy that is safe and renewable? Don't got that, Ida? Seems like your hands are slippy and you got nothing to show anybody. Well, if there is how things work, we're going to spend $50 billion on a collider where we smash things together. And whatever pops out is fact. That's what a collider is, people. So it's a giant, high-priced roller derby, and you smash things together, and what popped out of the engine? So, not roller derby, what do they call them? Cars when you smash them together. I can't think of right now. So, that's really what goes on. So, apparently, it's a rocket design engineer. Well, that's interesting, but I'm not sure what that means. But working in the military aerospace, I'm not sure what that means again. This is engineering realities, and of course, engineers, of course, make things work when they can, if they can, maybe they can, and maybe it don't fall apart. So, engineers, unfortunately, have not solved our problems either. Shortly after his arrival in Australia, otherwise known as Kangaroo Land, he became intensely interested in holistic health and healing, and generally the formation of a more holistic worldview. So he's old and looking to live longer.
I like to translate things.
The problem with Australia is the fact that it's one of the most oppressive, dictatorial, fascist countries on the planet. And you basically, they watch everybody. And if you come out with anything alternative, you're in big trouble. A certain homeopathic who showed a, quote, bioresonance machine, as the FDA of Australia likes to label that stuff, threatens to sue him or fine him $2 million if he ever used his technology in Aussie land. You can only drink Rouge blood. And see, that. So the whole idea is that this is really sad, and one of the major things, of course, Australia is a very strange country, which maybe I'll do a particular lecture on in the future. So a beautiful country, and generally Australians are friendly, nice people, but they're run by a culture of psychopathic Nazis, basically. So I'm sure Hans here felt at home. So the whole idea is that all of this has to go with understanding that. So he's taking really common electric understandings and trying to move it into this world of using frequency generations, basically connecting to Rife and other technologies, obviously. Otherwise known as doing what the typical Germans do, he copied other people. And this seems to be a very copied machine in general. And of course, we're going to give this a good testing. I'm open-minded to everything, but the illusion that somehow Europeans in general, and Germans specifically, are technically oriented and know anything is the greatest fraud perpetrated on the world population. Ever been in a Volkswagen?
High-techy. A roller skate with a park bench in it.
So basically you run into that, and can anybody name a single thing that has changed the world that has come from Europe or Germany in particular? Free energy? Healings? No. It's pseudo-scientific, using what's considered high-tech, bogus manufacturing processes to produce basically pseudo-high-quality products that are meaningless and don't do anything else. So I haven't seen anything. It's another one of those illusions they pushed on you. Like, you probably think German beer is good. Some of the worst beer in the world.
But you've been told different.
So let's continue on here. Due to his engineering background, this worldview had to be practical and down to earth. Oh yeah, this is smart stuff. The science and philosophy of harmonization, harmonology, is this down-to-earth and practical approach to a better understanding of the universal laws and principles. Through harmonology, we begin to understand that all matter is but a vibrating energy and follows a similar universal principles. He is the originator of the concept of harmonology and also the inventor of various harmonizing devices. Well, I do kind of like the term harmonizing. I think it has a warm, fuzzy glow, and it's a great way to kind of move away from more technical or medical type terms, which you're not able to practice with. But you got to remember, all of this is not medicine. Medicine is a particular way of looking at the body and using it, usually through the chemicals, and you're looking at very physical structures only, and you're looking at chemical structures. All radionics, scalarionics is looking at the energetic. It's apples and oranges again. So we also go into Dr. Grohe Matha is a very successful obstetrician, gynecologist in the UK. She runs a successful holistic medical center in the name of
Jeremy Health Center in South Woodford, London.
She is a specialist in water birthing and into in vitro fertilization. She also runs 2 centers on IVF. I'm not sure what that means. Until 2 centers in the on IVS unit in Holy House Hospital, Buckhurst Hill, Essex, and a water birthing unit in Whipps Cross Hospital, Leydenstone, London. So, I mean, this is a professional medical doctor of some renown with an alternative touch. She obviously comes from the Indian culture, and so she's into a lot of female and birthing issues, and we're assuming she's highly credited, whatever that means. So, if she's using this technology and then is proving through documentation and research its effectiveness on a physical scale, which I'm not sure she can do because that is still using unapproved medical devices. Certainly that would be very helpful. I don't know if having doctors on your team is good or not. They're brainwashed freaks, so I'm not really sure it can happen. They're not necessarily going to help you. They tend to give you credibility because all the doctors have done so much and we're living so long. And has anybody died recently?
Thank you, doctors.
Why do we have graveyards? Then we have this other guy who's the American in the group. So he's got this European rep. He's down under, which put shrimps on the bobby. We have N.C. Murty. And I believe he's also a Indian. I'm not entirely sure, but he is the vice president and marketing director. He's based in the United States at that particular time. As I said, I can't find anything about these organizations anymore. I mean, 20 years is a long time, and these I'm sure aren't young people, and I've never really heard of this tech at all. There's lots of people who have come along after him producing similar type stuff, but this is a whole system altogether. I have the complete unit, I have the complete instruction, so that is fairly exciting because I have lots and lots of equipment, and probably only 20% of that has really complete instructions. So McNulty has a master's degree in industrial engineering and management. Before joining Harmony International, he was a very successful marketing manager for a software consultancy in the United States.
Here we go again. I know software. I know everything. Software has cured the world's problems. There's nothing different between Scalar, Radionic, and marketing, particularly computers. Computers do everything. It's all the software from the computers.
Which couldn't be further from the truth. The bottom line is computers are fantastic tools for handling very common data. When you start getting into the measuring subtle energy fields, scalar fields, radionic fields, there are no equipment to do this properly. Now, could it be done? Yes. Nobody's putting millions of dollars into doing that. They're too busy figuring out what poisons they can inject in you. So the whole idea is that this is the way it goes. So, the minute you start getting into these computer firms, computer consultancies, you're going down the road to hell. So, you got to steer away from that. So, that's pretty much about this device. We'll look at these things. There is a lot more here, and I will be reading this entire thing. Most likely all of this is going to go to the serious people and Patreon and other things where you can understand it a little better. How much time do I have? Well, I may read this first little page here, give us a better idea. This unit does come with everything. It has these kind of, you can make your own little pendants to wear, which I think is pretty cool. It gives you a plate like this, and this is all included in the set where you can put water on, harmonization. It's got all these little accessories which I think are really cool. Here is the Ultra Pulse, which is this unit right here, which we'll talk about later. Let's see how we can push in another 10 minutes here and see what we can get. Harmony International proudly presents New Concept in Science, which provides new insights into the universal laws and principles of harmony, postulates that the universe consists of vibrating energies and is the harmony between the different frequencies which affects the behavior of all biological and non-biological matter, plants, animals, humans, etc. By carefully matching metals according to the type, mass, and shape is possible to create devices which create a harmony frequency. This harmonic frequency entrains biological and non-biological matter it comes in contact with to vibrate a harmony frequency. Well, very interesting, and again, we're starting off pretty good here. This gets into that. I think it's a little different than other things, but it's still getting into the concepts that are pretty well known in general. It's widely held that every cell in the biological matter in the whole system Human body, for example, is surrounded by electromagnetic field. The electromagnetic field contains many different vibrations, which all have to swing in harmony. German scientists call this field an immune bell because it surrounds the body in the shape of a bell. This would be called the aura, basically. Of course, you got to make it special for the Deutsches. All metal has a crystalline structure, and the vibrate of the crystals can be affected by devices emanating harmonic frequency. Well, I like this concept because he's getting into the interaction of particularly metals that we use all the time. And metals are very special, but I'm not going to go into that right now. The exciting discovery is that all matter, be it living or non-living, metal, water, and so on, seem to follow the same universal laws from a vibrational point of view. All matter can be entrained to vibrate on a harmonic vibration by devices emanating harmonic frequencies. Quote, vibrations. The physical law of entrainment can be seen in example of pianos. If you have a room full of pianos and knock the key C, for example, the vibration energy emitted by the string connected to this key will entrain all other C strings of all other pianos, which are correctly tuned to the vibration as well in that room. So this, again, is an interesting factor that's not talked about much. Right? You hit a room full of pianos, you hit a C, well, all the other C keys are vibrating as well there at one level or another. Harmonizing devices are like tuning forks. We need only one single tuning fork to tune all the pianos in the world. Thus, one harmonizing device will tune all matter so that it may vibrate on a universal harmonic emitted by the pre-physical energy field. Well, again, this is a little oversimplified. Of course it is. Because the vibration of, let's say we take a musical note, C, is C. There's no C and a half or C.2. So the whole idea is all you need is to have that C note, and then, of course, C is C. The pre-physical energy and information fields emitted perfect impulses for matter creation. If matter is physical reality, is in total harmonic resonance with these impulses, it will appear as perfect as well. So one, of course, you can affect another. But does it stay that way? Harmonizing devices can be seen as boosters for matter creating impulses, just as boosters on antennas or TVs can amplify the impulses coming from a TV station, improving the picture quality. So pre-physical information and matter creating field is like a universal television station or transmitter emitting signals. So the whole idea is you start off with a perfect signal, you send it to a non-perfect person, place, or thing, and it balances or harmonizes it. Harmonology provides the basics for unified theory, which allows to understand physical phenomena in a universal totality. Based on the above theory, the following device has been developed through intensive research and practical application. That goes into here I think all this is in the big kit that I have. The mini harmonizer, area, water, harmotron, ultra pulse. So all of that is here. So it is kind of interesting, and basically that's all good information. It's not overly new. But everybody has their own spin on things. How do you get this harmonization going? What is it all about? And these are things that have come with it. You've got the mini harmonizers. So there's a whole bunch of these that were never used that are in this kit. This is a little pendant. So you harmonize the energy into this and then you wear it. And this is a disc. That plugs into the device. The water polinizers is the area. So you put this in an area and harmonizes it by putting out that particular, basically you're talking about Hertzian type frequencies to do that. And again, with the polarizer, you're doing the same thing. So we're getting into, common frequencies here that we have to understand as well. The Harmatron, I believe that is in there. I don't remember seeing this, but I'll have to look into it. The Ultra Pulse, which I believe is this unit right here. This is the Ultra Pulse. And that's the main instructions here of what comes with it. I'm not sure how many people are interested in going in depth into all this stuff. As a researcher and pretty much the only one out there that looks at old equipment, invests in this, I have many, many machines, probably worth close to $100,000 or more dollars that have invested over the years of these types of machines. And I'm the only one that shows them, looks inside of them, and gives you a very educated view of what's going on, because very few people know anything about this technology, and what they're offering you is garbage. Many even built in Michael's craft store boxes or some other very primitive junk. We have a huge amount of primitive crap coming out of Mexico, South America, etc. right now. That is really sad. And of course, I've showed you all this stuff. I've taken them apart and showed you they're basically empty. You think there's magic in there? Yeah, Harry Potter lives in one of them boxes. He's in there turning the dials. So the whole idea is that we have these kind of things going on that's out there, and pretty much everything on the market today is garbage. Nothing really has been well researched except the technology that I come with, and we will be flooding the market soon with this high-tech, wonderful technology as we get it to the level where we can market it easily. A lot of people have already gotten this technology that I work with personally, but all of this is still coming for the next great level, getting close to the fact of creating energetic informational fields that will interact with your lifestyle and create most everything for you. I don't think we're going to be breaking through into the replicator type technology all that soon, but you don't need to physically replicate something, as in Star Trek. All you've got to do is replicate the energies that then can have you access the money to buy the product. So it's as simple as that. So we're very close to all this. And of course, our tech is unparalleled. It always has been. We've always built the best equipment. I was the first. I am the #1 expert in the world. 35 books, 5 courses. The first person to ever own a Radionic retail store for over 3 years. We have the first people to introduce metaphysical radionics, to build the products and sell them. And of course, since this intimidated demand, they of course harassed us. And of course, now you're stuck with a bunch of products from evil Satanists and demonology, demonic machines created by Carl Weltz that are polluting the planet and the people on it. Fortunately, this technology usually kills you, so they're eliminating themselves. So, I always find that amusing. But anything connected to what is called orgonite and even common orgone is just all garbage. It does nothing. So if you got some crap from the Satanist Don Croft, who is Wells' buddy, you've got the biggest garbage out there. None of that stuff works. It's a big fantasy to think that little balls of aluminum are thrown on the ground. This is ridiculous. So basically, you can control the world if you get yourself a roll of aluminum foil. Make little balls and throw them around. 18% of the ground is aluminum, boobs. So aluminum is normal. That's the way it goes. But these are the type of things. But, we never know what other people have come up with. If something is still not around, it does not mean it's not good. It's very difficult to get any kind of these businesses off the ground and be successful with them. So I've never heard of this, even back in the time this came out, but I'm assuming this was very expensive at the time and probably not too many people bought it. From what I've heard from some old-timers, is that they may have seen this device 20 years ago, offered at New Age events, etc. So I hope this has been informative. Until next time.